Brett Perigo, tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terribles over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
How are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm talking here. You know who you're talking to? Macho Man! I'm on my way to Monday Night Raw.
The second one.
Your choice.
It's a trap.
I feel like it is. I feel like he's setting up fights in the front stretch is what he's trying to do.
Speedway. We've got Devin Board with us
At Keen Motorsports Shop here with Kyle Keen.
Sitting here with Sean Keen. We're going to talk a little bit about racing history.
Yep.
Monday, February 16th, 2026. What's going on? I am Jimmy here with Jay-Z. We are at the Turn 2 Terribles. We got a great show planned for you tonight. Brent Marks will be joining us in just a little bit. Excited for this one. Always good to have Brent on and talk to him about everything. He has a lot going on with his program, High Limit season coming up, and just to get his general thoughts on the state of sprint car racing today. We're also going to talk a little bit about some other stuff until he's able to join us. He'll be able to join us around 8:30 or so. So we'll talk about some other topics, including PA Posse TV. We want to talk a little bit about that. And then whatever else you guys want to talk about. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. As always, we see you guys in the chat. EJ, Santos, James, Matt Bird, Steph, Mandy, Daniel Lee. What's going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, just always a great Monday when you guys get to join us. We really appreciate it. Jay-Z, man, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm excited for this one. Obviously, I don't think this will be a super long episode. We don't have a lot to cover, but at the same time, there's a ton to cover. So it's kind of a weird night. We didn't really have any wing racing to speak of.
Yeah.
Some wingless stuff, but there's still plenty to go over and talk about here.
What's going on, Mitch? Mitch Bodine there with Magoo's Motorcycles. Thanks for the shirts and the stickers. Yeah, you got yours back there. Yeah.
Do that right there. There it is.
Appreciate the swag. Sending it this way. Mitch is always a big supporter of 410 sprint car racing. Make sure you check out Magoo's Motorcycles. Speaking of t-shirts, before we get into it, the t-shirts from our pre-sale back in December are finally done. We just are trying to link up to pick up the shirts. Person who made them was out for a few days for an expo and everything. So hopefully this weekend we could get them picked up and get them sent out to you guys. Sorry for the wait, everybody. We appreciate everybody's patience. We appreciate everybody who put in a pre-order and everything. We didn't make too many extras, So we'll let you guys know if there are any extras left once we get that all sorted away. But we appreciate every single one of you. We'll be doing some other stuff throughout the season. This was a cool little one-off design, I think. If it's that popular and more people want it, maybe we'll look into doing it. But we will be have those shirts probably out in the next couple weeks. Sorry for the delay. Appreciate everybody's patience. Matt Bird says, hopefully season opener next weekend. Yeah, next weekend is Icebreaker, if you didn't know. Supposed to be. We're getting a little bit of a warm-up right now. Get some of this snow and stuff out of here. So hopefully it stays that way and we can actually get into racing next weekend here locally in PA at Lincoln. So again, like I said before, Brent will be joining us around 8:30. So we wanted to talk a little bit about PA Posse TV and some of that around it. Jay-Z, you had thoughts, so why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, listen, I think we talk a lot about, throughout the season, controversy, things we like, things we don't like. Try to mainly keep it pretty positive on here because we're fans of the sport. But listen, there's things that we're humans. There's things we like and there's things we don't like. And, the reason I even want to talk about this is overall, this is a positive thing for the sport. But the reception to this on the internet has been wildly confusing, and it's unfounded, it's unfair, it's short-sighted, it's all of those things from the folks that just don't quite understand what this is and what it's intended to be. There is not another service out there like Flow. Dirt Vision is the closest to Flow, and it's not Flow.
Yeah, true.
For your money. Just not. It's not corporate. It's just not the same. Dirt Vision is the next closest thing, and it's more expensive than Flow by a lot. If everybody thinks that the next up and coming local TV production thing is going to be like Flow, you're crazy. If you think it's going to be next to nothing and peanuts for you to be a part of, you're crazy. If you think it's designed to be cheaper for the consumer, you're crazy. Now, what it is designed to be is a ticket to the race.
Yep.
It's a ticket to the race, everybody. Just like, and listen, I know there's going to be people that agree and understand this and get it. It is a ticket to the race when you can't be at the race.
Gives you access.
It's not intended to be a substitute, cheaper alternative to going to the racetrack. Then what's the point of having this? Again, there is only one Flow. There's only one. And to be honest, it doesn't sound like that model works for almost most tracks in the country. People talked about subscription. People talked about this, talked about that. I don't know if that's the way to start one. I think once you have attendance, you have a consistent customer base, things like that. I think maybe okay. You could say, okay, listen, we're gonna get our share of pay-per-view. We're gonna get our share of memberships. We can still keep this profitable for the racetrack because ultimately this has to be profitable for the racetrack to do. The racetrack needs to get that ticket back. That's the whole idea, is this, that they get another sold ticket. They're not getting concessions. They're not getting, there's a lot of things the tracks don't get having this. They don't even have to do this. They don't have to do this.
Right.
In an era where we have to stream. It just isn't. But they're willing to say, okay, we'd like to have for people out of town, people who can't make it. But why should it be cheaper than the gate for you to sit at home and they don't have the opportunity for any other revenue sources? Merch, if they have all tracks have their own merch, right? They all have their own food and drinks and whatever else. Even though you can bring your own to the racetrack, they already allow you to bring all your own food and drinks to the racetrack.
Yep.
But you're not there. They're getting no other revenue stream opportunities. So why should it be cheaper, more convenient for you as a consumer to sit at home and watch this race? Now, here's what the solution is for this. And Jimmy, bring up that schedule because just real quick, and if everybody hasn't seen this, I'm sure you have, everybody that's watching this so far, look at all these races they're going to do. When we all launched this, we thought what, it was going to be Lincoln, right? Primarily Lincoln Speedway deal. It has extended to PA Posse races outside of other than Port Royal and Williams Grove. And they picked up apps.
Yeah.
Maybe
That
everything all the I'm reading comments. I apologize. I don't want to
no,
get
you're good.
my thoughts. So this has turned into now if someone in one of the comments said, "Oh my God, look at all the money it'll be to watch all these." It would cost the same exact amount of money to go to the racetrack that you pay gas to get there for, potentially have to buy food and drinks and whatever else to get there. Now you could just sit at home and pay the ticket price and watch every one of these instead of going and paying more. So technically you are getting a cheaper deal by you doing this than you would be going to the racetrack.
I
I
have a question.
how much fuel I'd spend to go to Clinton County from here, from my house,
Mhm.
and then, right? So if we think about it, it's cheaper this way than going to the racetrack. But the people that were complaining like this is a travesty and a ripoff, and oh my God, why would I ever support this? You're out of your freaking mind. If you don't want to support this, then go to the damn racetrack.
Yeah.
This is there if you can't make it to the racetrack. I know if I skip a race and I'm not going to go, I'm probably going to get these because I want to see what our guys are doing. Otherwise, Selinsgrove, Bedford, even Lincoln, they're going to have more Lincoln shows televised this year than last year,
Yeah.
right? All
Yep.
these other places, if I couldn't be there, I had to rely on other people to tell me what happened at the tracks. So this is the middle ground. The tracks obviously know they want to get more people in the stands. But how do we get our people to still buy a ticket if they can't be there? And this is the way to do it. They're still selling a ticket here if you can support this,
Yeah.
right? You can't make it to the racetrack and you don't want to, you have food at home, you can make it at home, you can do whatever. This is still a ticket for the track, and the tracks are not, I want to say they're winning, but the tracks, this is basically supporting the racetrack. You get to watch a race for the same amount as a ticket, and you get to support the racetrack. So we keep racetracks in business. So we as fans can still go to the racetrack and watch racing. I don't understand how this isn't that hard.
This
Yeah.
is
Go ahead.
this is great for someone like me for like Lincoln because I loved it when it was on Flow as a consumer. For me because I already had Flow and I was able to follow Lincoln and watch Lincoln. Lincoln's over 2 hours for me, so unless I'm camping there for the weekend, now, now I can pay and I will say this, if you go on their website and you look at they have all these dates that you're seeing here up to be able to purchase. There's a lot of 19.99 shows, not many over $30. You know what I mean? Like, only some big shows are, like, over $30, the rest are, like, in that $20 to $25 range. It's not outrageous, and you get for me, like, if I don't have to have that 2-hour drive back, if I wanna follow Lincoln, and when, maybe Lincoln wouldn't have gotten any money from me that weekend, you know what I mean? So, I think streaming is still very essential. I think it's the way that you get things out on the social media. It's how you get, uh, visibility out there to just, outside of just the people that go. Um, Highlights just aren't gonna do it. Um, but yeah, I love this what they're doing here, and it is interesting that they have all these tracks here. It's a whole thing. You buy them race by race. So if you can't get to the track that week, like you're saying, Jay Z, then go ahead and buy it. My question is, do you think, and it's to you, do you think that um, this will give maybe incentive to tracks to when that weather's a little iffy? Do you think that'll change at all?
Meaning canceling early because this is an option.
Yeah, or yeah, like maybe like, hey, we know maybe we won't get a ton of fans in the stands, but maybe we'll get that streaming, for people that are wary. You know what I mean?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know if it changes anything this year. I think they still do what they've done the last few years on having a quick trigger on pulling the plug on a
Yeah,
on a weekly show. Now, does this maybe change a little for some of the Posse Speed Week shows? Lincoln Speed Week is in there. The Kramer Clash, um, there's the Wednesday show, the Labor Day duels, the Gobrecht at Baps, there's a lot of the Bridgeport races, the Sterner Memorial. There's a lot of races in here I think that could change, maybe, but I think on that normal everyday. Well, these are okay. There's a lot of it's weekly at Lincoln, but I don't know if it changes necessarily Lincoln's model, or I don't want to say model, but they're sort of like, hey, look, this looks iffy. This is not going to be great. They pull the plug. I still don't think that changes dramatically this year. And it's sort of, I think it's a wait and see, and hey, how does this work? And
Yeah, how are
man,
the
if this
numbers?
is rolling and we've sold the tickets, now it all kind of makes sense. Let's get after it, right? And I'm in full support, because if I'm going to go and I'm going to be there, I want to. I don't want. I'll wait around. I want to go watch a race. So if I feel confident that that's going to happen, and I think this is a great alternative to maybe making that happen, right? Because it's been said that tracks, there's no revenue at all if you don't open. Nothing. If you just cancel, you got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You, there's cash flow happening if you have people in, people out, and you got to put on a show. So I don't know. I don't think this year. Let's put it this way. I don't think this year, with the exception of a few races, maybe it could change. It could change their decisions.
Yeah. And it's for me just having this conversation right now. If you asked us on this show 3 years ago, we'd been like, "You're stupid for not streaming." And like I know my opinions have changed on it a little bit. Like I still think streaming is very essential, but the subscription model is only works where it works. You know what I mean? If your track can handle it and the way it is, you know, um, I just it's just kind of, that's why I love doing this podcast, because I have learned so much more from people that we talk to on the show and just people in general, and just kind of learning more about the inner workings of how this all works. You know what I mean? On how this all works, and
Got it.
where I'm to the point where I'm like, this is a great model. When if you would have asked me this 3 years ago, I would have been like, no, it needs to be subscription model. But I understand, and I think this works, for what they're doing here, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Go ahead and a couple of these comments here. I
Yeah.
don't know if there was anything
I'm gonna
specific I had to respond to, but I think there's some good comments in through here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back here to a little bit earlier from when we first started to talk about. Santos says, "Simple as this, in my opinion. If they offered a yearly subscription, that would encourage more fans to stay home. People chase convenience. The goal of this is for the tracks to get more profit." And so when you say it like that, Santos, we understand that that's a great idea, but I think a lot of fans will be like, "Well, why should they get profit?" You know what I mean? Like they might hear it that way and be like, why should the tracks get the, like,
Right.
not understanding how it works?
And that's
Because
the short-sightedness part.
because it's their pockets that are funding it. So I
Yeah,
can
and
understand,
100%. And I did get, I had a driver actually reach out and ask me, um, so another competitor in this space, when you got the stream or you bought the pay-per-view, you could only have the replay for so long. And they were asking, like, can I have it forever? And I got confirmation here this week, that any of these you purchase and it's recorded, it's saved forever. You can go back and watch it
that's
forever, as
awesome.
long as you want. It's stored there as long as you can access it, and they're still in business. And maybe I don't know, but I did get confirmation of that. And while we're kind of on that topic a little bit, BAPS, okay, that all came out, and everybody was like, "That's odd. There's a lot of BAPS on here. Are they going to be co-streaming with Sprint Car Unlimited?" And no, they will not be. This has taken over from Sprint Car Unlimited. Looks like didn't strike a deal. I don't know. I don't know the inner workings or the behind the scenes on it. But Sprint Car Unlimited maybe gets a Speed Week show. That's up in the air a little bit, but they are out from BAPS Motor Speedway. So, looking at it, like, similar pricing, but did BAPS go, "Hey, they're charging gate price. Would you be willing to charge gate price?" And maybe that answer was no. And they said, "Okay, well, we're out. Peace." I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how that works. So that'll happen pretty recently. I'll be at those shows, but I've bought many shows to watch at BAPS. I'm a fan of watching BAPS even when I'm not there. So I hope the world gets to see more BAPS racing, 410s at BAPS, and because I think it's a hidden gem across the country. I hope that the nights that they do, like, and here's where I think an advantage for BAPS is it's Sundays.
Yeah.
Most of the 410 races are Sundays, not competing as much as against the National Touring Series, the Flow, or whatever you want to watch that you're already subscribed to or doing. That the world can see a little bit more BAPS. So I think of all the places, I think BAPS benefits the most here, from that perspective. And I'll be honest, the other part that I'm so jacked about here is the Path Valley, Bedford, Clinton County combo. Because
Yeah.
if I could make it to those, I mean, well, I don't want to say Path Valley, but like Bedford used to be All Stars. But right now, like if the scenario went along in Clinton County and the Bedford show, I just have to find out what happened if I'm not there. Like I have no idea, right? We find out results later, or follow it on a digital, race tracking app type thing. But kind of jacked up that if I can't be there for those, that Clinton County gets the spotlight too.
Yes. Yep.
Super cool.
Yeah, I like everything about this, and it sounds like they're going to be doing a little bit more production wise. Like maybe a little bit of a pre-race thing, maybe some pit reporting stuff like that. So it's not just going to be like like a static camera. You know what I mean? Like they're going to put some effort into production of this, and I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, 100%. I'm kind of excited to see how that plays out.
Our guest is here in the background. We do see him there. So we'll table this discussion. We'll try to get back to maybe some of these comments a little bit later, but we're going to table this for now. And we're going to bring in, hold on, let me get this off of here. And we are going to bring in our guest for this evening, Brent Marks. Brent, what's going on? How are you? Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. It's great to be with you again.
Man, so jacked up. We got video and we got audio. We're ready to roll. All right. So, first of all, made it back from Volusia. Let's start with the most recent thing. Tell us a little bit about Volusia, man. Kind of an up and down 3 days. You had a break in the middle, 1 day off there. Kind of what's your rundown, shakedown for a couple days there?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't rate it as a great trip for us. A little disappointing. We only got 3 races in, but it felt like we had some speed down there. I mean, we made 2 dashes out of the 3 nights. We showed some potential down there, but we just really couldn't get the balance right come feature time, and just struggled a little bit. So Volusia is kind of a difficult track for me. I always kind of struggle down there, and finding that right balance, trying to get comfortable, so on and so forth. It just seemed to can't quite get it yet. But all in all, we show some potential. We show some speed. We just need to dial it in a little bit more. And but we missed Volusia last year and then came down for this year, and I felt like we were okay. But and then we're going to go down there for bike week again and try to get some more laps, some more racing in before we start the high limit season. So that'll always be a little helpful too. But I definitely want to figure it out. I want to have some success down there. I know it's a part of the year that a lot of people generally don't think matters. But every race matters to me. So I just want to be successful at Volusia, and we just got to keep working on it.
Yeah, I hear a lot of things after post Volusia is if it went bad, it's not an indicator of your year. And if it went really well, it's not an indicator of the rest of the year. And it typically isn't. But like you said, I don't go down to a race to finish 13th. Like, it's not like your goals, right? No one really has those goals. One of the questions I had when I think it was night one, made the dash up front there with Brock, and I thought I read something happened in the dash. I missed it. And was there something broke that you didn't have time to get right for the feature, or did just rushed around and got it fixed but didn't get the setup right for the feature? What was the story
Oh,
there?
we had a really good car, and just running up against the fence there in a dash, and I just guess I got a little over my head and off of turn two, and or a little too antsy, and I just clipped the fence off turn two, and it broke the ladder straps and bent the wheel. But what we really didn't realize was, when we got back in to the pits there, after the dash, I mean, they only gave us like I think it was like 5 minutes before they sounded the horn. They didn't give us a whole lot of time. And we replaced the W link, and it was a half inch off. I'm like, oh man. So, ended up finding out that the torque tube was bent. Also pulled a couple studs out of the rear end. So, but we just didn't have the time to fix it. So we rigged it up. Felt like we at least might be able to get by with it, but it was terrible. It was just really bad. I would have honestly been better off leaving it broke, and just went out there and ran the thing. So, um, just a mistake on my part. Just did a lot more damage than what I felt like would have. I mean, the hit didn't feel like it was that bad. I mean, I literally just tapped the wall. But I guess, at such high speeds at Volusia there, a little hit is a big hit. So we just done a lot of damage and just couldn't get it fixed in time. And I just was hoping that we could ride around the top five there all race and just kind of manage, but it was pretty bad. So and then kind of was just falling back, and then I got in that little scuffle with David Gravel crashing, and cars making maneuvers to try to miss him and clip me, and then I got in the wall again and did even more damage. So I was just like, you know what, we're calling it a night. It wasn't worth it to keep going. So first night we had a lot of speed, but ended bad. In the second night we just had a couple mishaps beginning of the night, put us behind some, showed a ton of speed in the B main, and then the final night we had speed early, but fell off in the feature. So it was an okay week. We just had a lot of things to overcome, I guess.
So speaking of overcoming things, you've had quite the all season. Probably, I would assume one of the reasons you went to Volusia was like, hey, we better go see if we can make this thing will start. Like what do we have here? So tell me a little bit about your all season new partnership with now it's Fenton Marks. So tell us a little bit about how that came about, and add into that partnership, and then a whole new crew. You kind of, I think, a whole new crew as far as for the most part. But tell us a little bit about kind of your all season, and how late did this all kind of come together?
It came together really late, really, really late. But huge changes over the off season here. My goal, I set goals for myself, and I really want to win a championship. That's what I want to do. And we just needed to do some restructuring. I wanted to get better resources for our team in order to achieve that goal. And it was just a lot of things needed to change. And I worked really hard over the years to build Brent Marks Racing into what it is today. And we've had a lot of success under BMR, and we continue to do that. And with marketing partnership with Logan Fenton and Warrior Buildings, and starting Fenton Marks development, racing development. It's just a cool new chapter in my career that I think will get me to that point. Competing for a championship, and then also a new venture with the whole development side as well. It's going to be pretty interesting and fun to work that out. So, there's just a lot of changes that came over the off season that weren't expected, but it happened. It really all just kind of fell in my lap, and we worked through all that. And but it's for the better. It's to move on, compete for championships, go out, and obviously we want to win a bunch of races. I'm a race car driver. I obviously want to win races, but I really want to win a championship. And that's just a whole nother level of mindset and organization in a race team, and resources and so on and so forth. So we need to get ourselves to that point in order to compete at the level that I want to. So I feel like we're one of the top tier teams in the country, and we've kind of set that tone since 2021, that we had that potential, and we showed that potential in 2022 and 2023. And And then joining, high limit in 24, I think we've shown that we do have the potential to compete for championships. We just need to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, and achieve that.
So, one of the things you mentioned there was, and are there more details on the the development part of this? And I think we've heard the term before,
Yeah.
development or but what is it really doesn't like to me it's like this like Swindell Speed Lab, right? Like what does that mean? Is that like a real thing? Is that a lab somewhere or
All
but it's
right.
not really a thing in a sense, right? Like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is the development side and it sounds like on a little bit of the press that came out like this is a real thing.
It
Are you
is.
how the hell do you have time for this? But
Yeah.
number 1,
Yeah.
and how do you have any idea how that your vision of that what that looks like so far?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's something that was very unexpected. It came together super late, and me and Logan discussed the idea and felt like it was a great opportunity to jump on starting that. Something that Logan always wanted to do, and something that I've been thinking about. What does my future look like in this sport? Because I'm 35 and I've been doing this for a long time now, and you get to that point in your career to where it's like you're going to continue to compete at a high level, but what do I do past this? It's like this is my livelihood. This is what I do. So time flies. Next thing you know, 5 years passes really fast, and it's something that's kind of been on my mind a little bit, and then Logan brought it up to me, and I thought it was a great idea. He obviously owned the car and on the World of Outlaw tour, and he has equipment, and Brent Marks Racing is still what it is, and so we decided that we could start that with what he has, and Logan will manage that side of things, and I'm more on the consulting side. And our goal is, and what we want to do is to bring young drivers in, and you know, you see it a lot in micro sprints and midgets and stuff like that, but you don't see it in sprint car racing. And I mean, sprint car racing is the mecca of dirt track racing, right? So we want to give that opportunity to young drivers who want to expand their their career, and I feel like that's something that's missing in sprint car racing, and we can provide that for them, and give them great equipment to go out and compete. Have the consulting, from Logan's standpoint on business, and everything that revolves around the business side of racing, and then you have my side of driving, and learning how a car works and what kind of adjustments you need. There's just so much that's available that we can provide, and so it's going to be like a legit learning experience for young kids to come in and race these cars. And we want them to move on. Like we're not looking for kids to come in and spend a career there. We want them to come in, learn, get better, and move on, go to do some asphalt racing, or like just propel their career. That's what we want. And we want to be an avenue for them to do that. So it's a legit deal. We're not looking for people to come in and hand us $500,000 and just to go race. It's not what we're looking for. We're looking to develop and kids and move on to better their careers, and we just want to be a part of that. So I think that it's going to be a special deal. There's a lot of details that go into making this work, for sure. We didn't put out very detailed information, but we just put it out there that we're looking. We've been talking to a lot of different drivers, and putting the personnel in place to make it work. First of all, because Logan's a very busy man, and I obviously race the high limit tour, and so you need to have people in place, good people in place that are going to make it successful too. So there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle, a lot to figure out still. We're not looking to jump in over our heads the very first year. We don't want it to be a failure. So, it might be a very small amount of races at first, anywhere from, you know, 10 to 20 to 30. I don't know. We don't know that part yet. It could be more. So it just really all depends. But a lot of work's going into that. And it's exciting. So something that kind of just fell on my lap. I wasn't expecting it to happen. But once it got, brought up to me and proposed to me, I felt like, it's a great opportunity, something to jump on and something that we can build off of that.
Sounds like it's your 5 to 8 year plan to have a successor in the 19M or the 19 someday. Is that
Maybe.
is it something? I mean, that's a long time down the road, but is that something you look at and go, I would love for BMR to continue beyond me driving? Is that, or you say, hey, I'm gonna when I'm done, this stuff becomes someone else's, or and I'm gonna consult or build teams, or is that something you kind of look at and go, all options are on the table, or would you love to see BMR continue on? Oh, that was a really good question.
Sorry.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh,
Oh, we still.
okay.
There you
Oh shit.
Somebody's calling me. Bad timing.
go.
Um, no, so yeah, I want this team to be bigger than me. And that's something that I've been kind of going through in my head. What does that look like down the road? I don't know 100% yet, but I do want it to succeed past, my driving career. And, and that's something that, a high limit provides, me that opportunity to continue on past my driving career, just with, the opportunities that come with the series. And, I mean, it's still too early to even think about that, but it's just stuff that's crossed my mind. And yeah, I mean, that's, development team could be a stepping stone into maybe like, my team, or, you can even talk about crew members too. There's so many young kids and and even, guys who just always wanted to race, but never have the opportunity to go work on a race car. And, they could come in and learn there and then move on and go work for other teams. And, it's just something that's really lacking in our sport is, opportunities for crew guys. And so that's an avenue too that we can develop crew members. And I think that's a great idea and something we've been talking about doing. And that's not really set in stone yet, but we've been discussing that. And so there's so many different opportunities there, that we can have. But we just need to get it started, start out small, and then just see how it grows, and then kind of determine what the future looks like there. With how we push drivers and crew members through into the sprint car world or past the sprint car world. So yeah, it's just pretty exciting. But I just know when I was young, growing up and trying to get into sprint car racing, I just know how hard it is to have opportunities. And today it's especially super hard. You need to come with a big pocketbook if you want an opportunity, it seems like. So, and those are never really guaranteed. So if you're in a position to where, it's a development situation, I feel like you can succeed a lot faster.
So you talked earlier a little bit about high limit, and Jimmy put together some of the high limit rule changes in the off season, and I'm sure you're well versed and up to date. So I know typically, excuse me, I know it's been very kind of open, that high limits open to talking to the drivers and getting your feedback on, hey, what do you like, what do you not like, what would you love to see? So the single file restart cone in turn 4, or when it is single file restarts, work area times for flats only, it's a minute, and series provisionals are limited to 2 per race, and no extra. The contingency awards are not allowed. You're not allowed to earn those if you took a provisional. It just generally love these, hate these, doesn't really matter. Did you have any input either way? You don't have to say you hate anything high limit does. I'm okay. Like, I get
Yeah,
it.
I know. Yeah, yeah. I
Oh,
don't mind these.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't mind these rule changes, honestly. This the single file restart cone in the turn 4. I like that. I always kind of thought it being on the straightaway was dumb. Uh, you know, especially like we'll use Williams Grove as an example. That's the longest straightaways that we have, and it's just I don't know, it's just dumb. I just never liked it, but it's part of the sport, and then it's just something you've always dealt with. It's been that way for since the dawn of time. So it's just all we've known. So I like that change, and in the work area, uh, I don't mind that at all. Going to 1 minute, I kind of feel like there's a lot of wasted time in the work area. Most of the time, damage is so extensive you can't get it fixed anyways. So it's just some waste of time, and um, you do have those circumstances to where it does get fixed and the guys get back out. But it's always extended just a little bit, it seems like. No, I like that. I like the change there. A minute for a flat tire I think is doable. um, I think that's doable, no problem. So I think that's fine. And then the provisional thing, yeah, I mean, there's no reason for us to be starting 28 cars in a race, and sometimes it's gotten really high there. So there's no reason for that. So it's just my only thing with the provisionals are that if something happens to me in a heat race, for example, and I know, okay, well, this happened to me in a heat race. There's 50 cars here tonight. I know I'm gonna have to start in the C main. I'll just take a provisional. Like, in my opinion, if you're at a point to where you're just gonna take a provisional and skip the rest of the night, I feel like that shouldn't be allowed. I feel like the car should have to compete in every single event, um, and not just start and park it. Like, they need to compete, and give their best efforts to make that event and not just rely on a provisional. That's my only thing against that. But yeah, so I don't mind any of the rule changes at all. I think High Limit's doing a great job running efficient shows, making good rule changes. There's just only one change I'm requesting it, and I think a lot of other people are, but that's not going to come for some time. But other than that, I'm happy with the direction that they're going, and they're doing a great job.
If you and a lot of others are requesting it, what can we say what it is?
Oh, it's tires. I mean, everybody's been talking
Okay.
about it.
Okay, great question.
Yeah,
Tires. I wanted to ask
yeah,
you this
yeah.
because it's been a hot topic, and I know you're just the biggest fan of Hoosier Tire in general that I know. Um, have there been any like I didn't hear anything this year about any compound, sidewall, tread. I heard nothing this off season. Do you know if there were any silent changes that Hoosier made that wasn't public, or do you just find that out when you start buying tires this
Um,
year?
we'll end up just finding that out when we start buying tires. But there's no secret. It was out there that Hoosier was doing tire tests. Last season with both High Limit and World of Outlaws, and there might have been some other ones in there, but they were doing tire tests. I'm sure everybody heard the rumors of American Racer wanting to jump in, and I guess they're not really rumors. I know the CEO of American Racer is out there saying that they want to be a part, and so on and so forth. So I know there was a lot of pressure on Hoosier uh, to work on a tire because of the American Racer thing. Um, but then, of course, when that didn't happen, and all of a sudden, you know, all the new tire talks from Hoosier just totally dropped and stopped, and we're just doing the same thing. So I think they were just making us happy, but that's my opinion. And and I'm not afraid to say that because it's the truth. It's not really an opinion; it's just the truth. So I want Hoosier to stay in the sport. I don't want them to go anywhere. I really don't. I just want a better product. It's gone downhill really fast in the last several years, and that's no secret. Everybody knows it. Everybody says it. It's been proven, and we just need some good competition. In this sport, that's what we need. We just need a competing company to come in, so that way they're both held accountable and to have the best product that they can bring to the racetrack. And that's just the way it is. It's the only manufacturer in sprint car racing that doesn't have a competitor, and they need one. So I I'm hoping here in the near future that that does happen. But I also know there's a lot of legal and contractual stuff that goes along with with everything as well. So it's not just an easy decision. I get that, um, but that's something that myself and every single other team out there is looking for sure.
So last time we had you on, the hot topic of that moment was the Wicker Bill, and it really last 2025 we've heard next to nothing complaints, good things, it just sort of poof went away after they made this half inch change. I think
Yeah.
thoughts. Like would you? How do you feel about how that went last year? And would you like to have anything else?
I think it was fine. I think it was fine. Honestly, I never ran a 2 inch. Very seldom did I run a 2 inch. I was always an inch and a half guy. So it was never, it wasn't a big deal to me when they even took away the 2 inch. Now I felt like when they went to the 1 inch, it just, it took that little bit of grip away that when you ran up on a car, you kind of stalled out. The hole in the air there just stalled you out, and you couldn't really do anymore. So going back to allowing an inch and a half, adding that half inch, does make a difference. So that helped a little bit, but it still just kind of boils down to the tire. It's just not gripping the track like it needs to, and we can't move around. And you got to stay on the grippy part of the track at all times. And as soon as you move off and try to make another lane work, you lose a half second, and you can't do that repeatedly every lap. So it's just really difficult right now with everything, and they're all trying to do their best job to give us the best product possible. And it's just a really difficult thing to manage, but honestly, I never followed Australian racing a whole lot, but the last 2 years, especially this year, I followed it a lot. And I'm telling you, they got a great package over there. The mixture with the dish wings and the flat wings and the wicker bills, the different tire options. Like, man, their racing is just awesome over there. And they definitely got it going on. I mean, I really think that we should take some notes from what they're doing in Australia, and obviously I get the whole money spending thing, and it's going to cost teams more money because the different wings and this and that, and it's like, I don't know, we're going to buy new wings anyways. So uh, it's a tough thing. There's a lot of variables, when it comes to making rule changes. You can't just think about yourself. You have to think about their local teams and so on and so forth. And it's hard. It really is. We have all these great ideas, but to make them work, it's very difficult.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't know if there's a perfect answer to every perceived
There's
problem
not.
out there,
Yeah.
but the Australia thing is something that we've talked a lot about in our circles and watching it. And I think all the things you mentioned are right. And but the other thing I'll say is the tracks are there's some similarities in all those tracks. They're fairly flat. They're progressively banked, right? The bottom is pretty short way around, but it's pretty flat, and it slowly banks up to nothing super high bank, but it's also nothing
Yeah.
super flat. I think, like you said, it's that combo between all of those things, the tires, the wings, and that track design that seems to be kind of a thing over there. We have,
Huh. Yeah.
I mean, just the wild west of track designs and surfaces, and I think it makes it a mystery sometimes for all of you, but I think there's something to be said about that progressive. It reminds me of like Homestead NASCAR. You know what I mean? Where you can race anywhere and it's wide and you can go up to the
Yeah.
top and run the boards and you can run the bottom the short way around, and it's slick, it's slowed down per se. I think there's something to be said about that. And I don't know if you can just take every track over here in the US and just reconfigure them to make that work. But is there a happy medium between a little bit of their program on the mechanical and the cars and what we do with all of our stuff? I think that'd be a big leap to try to get closer to what they're doing now.
It
I mean, we're too
is.
far down the
Yeah.
road, right?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And you can't rely on tracks to make those changes for sure. But the way a tire grips the track will dictate on how the track ends up that night too. I've noticed since they've taken grip away from our cars, I've noticed that they're making the tracks more wet to give us more grip to race, which you're kind of contradicting yourself there.
Just giving it right
um,
back. Yeah.
yeah, so if you would just And I've also noticed over the years the way tracks prep their surfaces when a national series comes in too. So, I'll pick on here in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania tracks will, on a local show, we've had a lot of great racetracks on local shows. Like you have to admit, like they've been really good. But then a national series comes in and it's like they forgot to take the keys away from the water truck guy. Like why are we doing this so much so different? So so there's that variable into it too. It's maybe they just get super excited and I don't know. But I can tell you it's not the series doing it. I've been involved in this long enough that the series don't dictate what happens at a racetrack unless the series is leasing the track, but if the track is paying the series to come in, they really have no say on what happens with the track prep at all. So yeah, it's just I've just been around this so long now that it's just you see a bunch of different things happening, and it's hard to get it right. It really is. When you're talking about dirt track racing, it's basically next to impossible to get it right. But there's just so many different variables I think that we can work on to at least make it better. Make it more fun. Um, maybe have guys come from outside the fifth row to win races again. You just don't really see that much anymore. Every once in a blue moon you will, but that's very seldom. It just doesn't happen anymore. I think the whole like handicapping thing in Pennsylvania is just no good anymore. I mean, if you're outside the second row, your chances of winning a race are very slim anymore. So, um, and you can be an extraordinary team, even like Macri, and yeah, they'll win races. But I think their percentage of races won outside of the third, fourth row are very slim. Compared to what it used to be. So um, yeah, I don't know. I wish I had all the right answers. I just have my opinions on things.
I know what I heard through all that was you want to come back and race weekly in PA because the tracks are set up better for that. So
Yeah, right.
that's what I heard from that. Jimmy, there was a couple fan questions in there before we get back to any more. There was a couple in
Yeah.
there that I thought were pretty cool.
Going back to Volusia, Marie asked here, and this is something that a lot of people noticed. How did you like the new surface? It raced a lot different. There was a lot of talk around the new surface. How'd you like it?
I really liked it. It was different. I can tell you one thing. When you look at Volusia and it looks wet, it's extremely wet. Like it's got a lot of grip to it. But this time around, it looked wet, but it still had no grip. It was totally different. It honestly reminded me a lot of like Ohio type surfaces, like the racing in Ohio. Didn't have the dust to it, but it
Good
was
job.
really exciting. I really hope that they stick with that surface and they keep working with it because, I mean, I watched the 360 stuff down there. And it was really good. I felt like the first night of Volusia was awesome for how slick it was, and then the last night, it was the weather changed and it was pretty. That's had a lot of speed in it, so
Yeah.
that was more like a typical Volusia. But the surface there is really neat right now, and I think if they continue with that and work with it and perfect it, you're going to see some of the best racing happen down there.
Yeah, I agree.
The second night where it took rubber late and you saw, or was that 360s? No, was it
Uh,
410 race that took rubber?
I think it was 360.
The
360.
360
Yeah,
race. So
360.
that 360 race, I don't know if did you watch any of that when they were down
Yeah.
there? That I've never seen a racetrack take rubber that was like it was obvious that it was there, but it wasn't, and it looked like the people that missed it and hit it had like a 50-mile-an-hour difference off the corner. It
Yeah.
was the craziest, best rubber race I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
That's probably the exception in the rule, I would assume, right? From what
Yeah.
your
Yeah. I
experience.
mean, yeah, definitely. You got to be careful with any surface. When you do get it that slick and that cleaned off, it's going to take rubber pretty fast. So you got to be really careful there. But yeah, to see the speed difference in the cars, that just goes to show you how slick that racetrack really is now. When it does clean off, if you're out of that rubber a little bit, you're just spinning tires. And it's just like I said, it's very comparable to like Ohio. Spinning tires, and then you got the guy in all the grip, and you just see that speed difference. It's huge. And even if you do miss your line a little bit when the track's good, and you got a guy up in a grip. I mean, it creates really good racing because the closing rate's huge there. Getting lap traffic and maneuver around there. I mean, man, you just seen some of the best racing in lap traffic. It was really neat, really unique. So yeah, I really hope that they continue with it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Matt Bird asked, and he asks pretty much every driver we have on here. Question of the night: tell us the history of your number and how did you pick it?
So when I started racing go karts, my favorite color is orange. So I wanted orange, and I wanted the number 14. But my dad, my dad wanted to pick the number, so he picked 19, and that was from Steve Smith Sr. So that was my dad's favorite driver in sprint cars, and so that's where my number came from.
There you go. Matt Althoff asked, who is the toughest driver to pass? Outlaws, high limit pay posse, doesn't matter.
Toughest driver to pass would, um, I don't know. I mean, I think like Carson Macedo is one of the toughest. Um, he show your nose. He makes his car extremely wide. And there's some other guys like that, but Carson really stands out to me with that. But um, yeah, I mean, Aaron Reitzel's really hard to pass to. You can be three-quarter of the way beside him, and he'll just drive you straight down into the infield. So, there's a lot of guys that are really hard to pass, but those two really stand out to me, honestly.
And maybe a couple times last year, Brenham Crouch, maybe.
Yeah,
I remember that
yeah,
a couple of those late last year.
yeah.
Brandon Zirk asked, what's your favorite track and a track you'd rather not see on the schedule?
My favorite track's actually been Port Royal for a really long time. I really love going to Eldora. Eldora is really fun to me. There's some little bull rings too that we hit that are really fun. I raced Plymouth, Indiana for the Rudine race one year, ran second in it, and actually I think to Rico. Yeah, I think Rico won that year. That was a really fun bull ring, super slick, all up against the wall. A lot of fun. So those two really stand out to me. Then a track I'd rather not see on the schedule. I know we were just talking about Volusia, but I feel like Volusia is one of my worst tracks. So, but that's, I don't have to go there, but I do.
Yeah, go back in
Um,
2 weeks again. You love it. Yeah,
yeah.
just
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. Whenever in the past, and I went to California, I always dreaded going to Chico. I never loved going to Chico at all. But since Brad and Kyle took it over, it's been a lot more enjoyable to race. Honestly, it's been a lot of fun. So I actually do enjoy going to Chico now. But if you're talking about a series schedule, in the past, Chico was my number one track I did not want to go to at all. So, but now I do. I enjoy it.
Are there any tracks on the other tour? I don't know if we're allowed contractually to say the other word of the other series. No, I'm
You
just
can.
kidding. But are there any tracks that you kind of miss going to that the Outlaws kind of go to, yearly, whatever that you guys aren't going to at this point? Is there any kind of anyone that stands out?
Yeah, like I always love going to Cotton Bowl. Cotton Bowl down there in Page, Texas is really fun. I wish we could. I wish the schedule actually worked out to where they were there early enough before our season started to continue to hit that race. But I always loved going to Cotton Bowl. I made it a point every year to go down there, even with the True Outlaw schedule. I always went to Cotton Bowl. So I wish that was a track that even though World of Outlaw race is there, I wish they would book a high limit race later in the year or whatever it may be. So that's always a fun track. That one really stands out to me.
Throughout the years, you've had some varying levels of success at Williams Grove, and with the high limit tour obviously not coming to coming to Williams Grove, you only get back a couple times a year, but it seems like you come back and you're there. You're in contention to win. Is that a track that you kind of wish you got more laps at throughout the year to get ready for like the Natty or something like that? Or is it saying, hey, what I've ran enough laps. I think I know what I need to do.
Yeah, I think our program's good there. I've had enough laps there that it's not like I need to run a dozen races there before we get to the National Open. Um, but over the past 2 years, I've always had a love-hate relationship with Williams Grove, which is crazy because that's where I fell in love with racing. I mean, I grew up in the infield there, but I've always had a love-hate relationship with it. But over the last 2 years running the national tour and not being at Williams Grove a whole lot, I do miss racing there. It's a fun place, especially when they have the track right. It can be really fun. It's super difficult, very technical, and I think that's what makes it so fun. You can just you can be doing this for a long time, and when you're doing the same thing, it can tend to get stale a little bit. So Williams Grove is one of those places that keep it fresh because it's just so technical and it's a lot of fun. So believe it or not, I'm starting to miss racing there a little bit. um, we've had a lot of success there. I think it was might have been 20. Yeah, it was 2023. I mean, I we did a lot of traveling in 23 and didn't race Williams Grove a whole lot, and we still ended up having the most wins there that year out of anybody. So that was kind of cool stat to have, and I mean, we won the national open that year. So um, yeah, it's just it's a cool racetrack, and I do enjoy getting back to the Grove. So honestly wish we can get some high limit races there. I wish we can get some more high limit races here in Pennsylvania. But I understand why, and it's really difficult. And maybe one day we can, but right now I'm thrilled with the schedule that we have with high limit. I love what they put together. I learned earlier that there's 10 new racetracks that I haven't seen yet that we're gonna hit, new regions, and so that's gonna be really cool, and I'm excited about it.
So Bailey commented here, you hate Kokomo, which in
Oh, I forgot about Kokomo.
that general region of the country, I, another track that came to my mind that I love watching streaming when it's on, whenever a series goes there or someone is there, is Jacksonville, Illinois. I know
Yeah,
you've been there. Is that a high, forgive me, is that high limit or is that outlaw? I don't even, or both.
yeah,
But
no,
is
that's
that
an
a
outlaw
track that you
race.
kind of like? I think it has a cool shape to it. I think it has sort of a short track and
Dude,
momentum at the same time. Or
Jacksonville's super tiny. I mean, Jacksonville's like Path Valley, but narrower. So,
wow.
yeah, it's a tiny place. I only raced there one time, actually. It was on the Outlaw Tour back in 2019, I think it was. I raced there, and every year we went back, it kept raining out. So I never had the opportunity to really go back there more than once. So, yeah, but yeah, the answer, yeah, I mean, to what Bailey said, Kokomo is definitely a place that everybody always raves about Kokomo, right? And I don't mean to knock on Kokomo because it is a great racetrack, but everybody always raved about going to Kokomo. And I went there for the first time and I'm like, man, I do not like this place at all. I just do not. I cannot figure it out. I don't like it. But we actually ran well there this past year. So yeah, that kind
That
of
always
helps.
helps. Yeah.
Yeah, it helps.
I think
Right.
it's one of those tracks, kind of like people talk around here, that if you have the laps, you probably end up liking it at some point. Whether it was guys in the wingless world,
Yeah. Yeah.
came from there and they're just good at it. Like Brady Bacon,
Yeah.
you go to Kokomo and you put him in a race car of any sort, he just gets it.
Yeah.
It's probably similar to here, where it's like an advantage of just having all those laps all those years.
It is, yeah, it is, and let's face it, it is a wingless track. I mean, man, they put on some great racing there. I don't think like wing racing is the greatest thing ever there, but no. So I'm excited to go back there. Even though it's not one of my favorite places, but we had a good run there the last time, and if we can build on that, then my feelings towards it will probably be different. I'm sure that's how this works.
Yeah, 100%. When you start doing well, it's just amazing how
Yeah,
you like it a little more.
yeah.
I have one last question here, and there's a few more fan ones that I'd like that I saw. I always think back to a race years ago that you won at Weedsport, and you and Sheldon, and it was slick, super technical. First, do you kind of miss going to Weedsport a little bit? Number one, and number two, if you had your choice, would you rather have it sort of like that super slick, wide, technical kind of track, or hey, give me a cushion, let me lean on it and rip? What would be
No,
your preference?
slick and wide. I mean, I think that's so much fun, but you have to have some sort of level of grip in the track. You just can't be sliding around trying to find grip to the point to where everybody's doing the same thing. So you can't move. So there's got to be some type of grip to it. But yeah, Weedsport, that was 2018. It was the last 2018 was the last time I was able to race at Weedsport, but I'd been there numerous times after that, and it rained out every single time. It's like a Jacksonville situation. So the last race I've raced at Weedsport, I won. So I'm still the reigning race winner, in my opinion.
There you go.
So yeah. But yeah, so no, I'd prefer that. We'll pick on Port Royal, for example, because I said earlier it's one of my favorite tracks. I love when Port Royal gets to about like 21 seconds, that's when it's perfect. I love it. So
Amanda says, I'm ready to see King Brent Marks at Eldora again in 2026. Last time I was there, he won it. Leads into my question, and you could kind of talk a little bit about Kings Royal as well. I'm making my first trip out there for the first time ever. Do you have any tips or anything for first time goer out to Eldora to Kings Royal? Something I need to do or see?
one thing about Eldora is everything you need to see is right there. If you leave, there's nothing. So, it's Eldora is a really cool place. Great atmosphere, man, for that race. I love going to Eldora. If you're looking to do something outside of the racetrack, there's not much.
No, but yeah.
But if you're there for the event, that's a really cool event. Knoxville Nationals is obviously the best thing we have in our sport. That's like the Daytona 500 and Super Bowl of sprint car racing. But in my opinion, Eldora Kings Royal is neck and neck with that event. So they do a fantastic job there, and I love Eldora. I love the atmosphere of the Kings Royal. Man, they pack the place. The fans are just awesome. Cheap beer, cheap food. It's just cool, man. And yeah, I'd love to get another crown for sure. I really would. I've been close a couple times after winning in 2022, and I'd like to get another one. I'm gonna try like hell.
So,
and
someone else called him.
Yeah. See if he comes back.
I want to know if he ever bought into the 50-50 out there as a driver. Like, because if you don't win the race, would you take the 50-50 money?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be putting into that. That's
did Ann Bay say?
Figures either.
My question is why you haven't asked the question
to me. I think he was saying that to me. Brent's back here. Oh, wait. There we go.
There we go.
All right, we got it.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
So my follow-up to the Eldora question I want to know is, do you buy the 50-50 when you're out there? So if you may not win the race, you might win the 50-50 and win as much or more money?
No, we didn't. We did this last time. I think I had Bailey buy some in 24. I don't know. You'd have to ask that question for her. My memory's not that great, but I know it's crazy what the 50-50 is there. It's like you'd be dumb not to play it. You really would. I forget about it most of the time, honestly. So
your mind
it's not like you have anything else to do.
Yeah. But no, it's unreal. I know there's been plenty of years that the person who won the 50-50 won more than the Kings Royal winner did, and then they upped it to 175 and 200. So now you're not seeing that anymore. But yeah, it's just insane.
Mandy asks, she has two questions. Number one, any racing superstitions that you believe in, and number two, what's your favorite racetrack concession stand food?
Superstitions. I don't really have many. I just put my gear on a certain way. That's really my only one. And then my favorite racetrack concession stand food. I really don't eat at the races at all. I eat before we get there, and I don't eat till after we leave. But if I was picking at any racetrack, just because I ate this a lot racing go-karts growing up, I'd probably go for cheese fries. That's like my number one go-to at a racetrack.
No, cheese fries. You can't go wrong with that. Todd Fritz asks, how many Speed Week shows will you be racing?
Right now, just 3. Just 3. I would really love to make the 40,000 to win Lincoln race, but I got to figure out a way to get from Montana to Pennsylvania in a day. So,
no problem.
I know.
So
So
I'm working.
what you
I am
do,
working on that.
the driver development car, right? You got it here, and then just a
Yeah.
flight, right? It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll figure this out. I'll pick your ass up at the airport. I'm
I've
here for it. We'll figure it out. We'll do
Hey,
something. We'll get it.
it can be done. It can be done. I think it's actually 2 days because we race Saturday, and I think there's a Monday race. I think.
Yeah, it's a Monday.
Yeah.
Monday night. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been thinking about how to make that work. We can make it, but how do we accomplish it? I don't know. It's obviously got to be a straight through trip. Most likely have a car here sitting ready to go, race ready, so we don't have to worry about washing, maintenance, none of that stuff, because that's just going to be killer. But something I want to do. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to make that race if we can. And then Williams Grove for the 20,000 to win race, and then Port Royal on Saturday. I don't know if I think I might have the Sunday race scheduled too. I can't remember. I gotta look back, but
That would be Selinsgrove, right? So that's the
yeah,
back half.
yeah, the back half. Yeah, that would be
Williams
kind of the
Grove,
plan.
Port Selinsgrove. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd obviously love to race at all or try to race as much as I could, but you can't drain your guys. My goal is to win a championship. Not kill everybody. So I got to be careful and cautious with certain things that I do because it is just extremely hard, especially that time of year. You don't get many breaks at all, really no breaks at all. So we're full head of steam at that point in the year.
Speaking about your crew here, Tony asked here, does anyone in your crew ever tell you you need to be more aggressive if you want to win this race?
No, no. And I think really nobody ever speaks up because I'll just be flat out honest. There's no worse critic of me than myself. I'm going to be the hardest on myself than anyone could be. So, I'm going to push myself as hard as I possibly can. And, I know when I screw up, or I know if I didn't give it that 110% like I should have. I know that. So I necessarily don't need anybody telling me that. But it is good to have people in your corner pushing you. There's certain ways to push people. There's the right way and there could be the wrong way. So, but it's always great to have somebody in your corner pushing you. And, you know, uh, but I don't know if that really answered his question. But, that's
Oh,
just how it's just always been with me.
we'll put that on Bailey. She kick your ass when she needs to. I think get you
So
moving.
she tells me she sure does.
Santos asks, what's your favorite scheme through the years?
Oh man, to be honest with you, I don't think it's any secret when I, brought out the yellow car that yellow is not my favorite color. But man, this yellow's really grown on me, and I think this year's scheme is right up there near the top. Like I really, really love it. Last year's I loved the chrome red in it. That was just really cool. I just love the simplicity of it. So I think yellow is kind of taken over, my top, favorite schemes for what all the cars that I've done really have. So, and my red car in 2021, actually the wing panel behind Jeremy there reminded me of that. That was also one of my favorite cars. So, and I like that one too.
I like the red with the black. I like the when you went
Yeah.
all white, but the red because you had this with white, but then you had
Yeah.
red with black, and the I think the red and black was sharp. The red and white stood out more, but I think the
Yeah.
red with the black was kind of cool contrast. The one that I always liked was our buddy on the sim team, Mark Broderick, has that paint. It was white with like a neon orangish red. I think was the 19. We kind of flipped it from that one. That was an
Yeah.
old scheme from way back. That was
Yeah.
always kind
Yeah.
of that one always stands out as one that I liked a lot.
Yeah, that was old school Brent Marks there.
Old
I
school.
also, I forgot about this car. I really love the gold car we did for Eldor, or yeah, for the Eldora Million. That was really nice. I like the way that looked. So you know that kind of goes up there towards the top too. But definitely the yellow one right now is my favorite.
Aunt
There you go.
Bay,
Aunt Bay actually asked a good one.
this is a really good question. 100,000 to win. Every track is racing the same night. Where are you going? Port Royal, Williams Grove, or Eldora?
That's a hard one. Now, do I answer this based on the track I like the most or my highest chance of winning?
Wouldn't that be the same? No. I
No,
don't know.
no, it wouldn't. No.
I think you can make a case for any of these three to
I
be
could.
the
Yeah,
same
I mean,
answer for both.
I've won a
Yeah.
lot of
Couldn't it?
races at actually all three.
Mhm.
I've won quite a bit of races at Eldora. But I think if you're looking at it percentage-wise, if I can of, winning that race, I'm gonna go with Williams Grove.
All right. Kind of following this one up, James asked, do you want another $1 million race? And if so, what track?
Yeah. I mean, another $1 million race would be great, for sure.
Sure, why not?
Sure, why not? Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, man, like, I've been big on this lately. I'm tired of the high, dollar numbers for what it is to win. I'm honestly tired
Paying
of
through
it.
the field a little bit more.
Instead of paying $1 million to win, it should pay, I don't know, 300, 400,000, 500,000 to win, and take the other 500 and spread it throughout the field. Make it, I don't know how that would even work out, but make it 50 grand to start or something. Advertise the purse, not what it is to win. I feel like we're the only racing sport that advertises what it is to win. Everybody else advertises the purse, like the Daytona 500, for example. I have no idea what the hell Tyler Reddick won, but I do know it's a $32 million purse.
Yeah, that's true.
And in my opinion, that sounds way more cooler than what it is to win. I'll pick on Houston. It's 300,000 to win this coming year, but it's probably not even 10,000 to start the race. Like, come on.
Yeah.
They should just keep it the way it was, or make it 150, 200, whatever, and then just spread the rest of the money. They obviously have the money, so spread it throughout the field. Like, make it worth everybody's while to come and be at your event. That's
See,
something
I
that's
think that's yeah. Sorry, but I think that's the difference in our sport is that big number. Not only it attracts fans, it's newsworthy. It's, oh my god, a sprint car race is winner is this. I agree with you, and think about and where I think, like, hey, Williams Grove, the National Open's the National Open. It's still only 75 grand to win. That place is packed to the gills, standing room only in every place you can see in the campground everywhere.
Yeah.
It still can bring fans. You got to make the event the event. It's not about that. No, like, I agree with you completely on this. Like, I don't know if it has to be this crazy big number to attract the fans, because the cars will show up if the event is the event. Make
Yeah,
the event
exactly.
the event.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Make the event the event. And if you're looking to advertise the number, I mean, just use the purse. It's a big,
Sure.
I'm sorry, but the purse is a bigger number. You're going to be advertising a bigger number than what you're advertising to win.
Mhm.
Don't matter what race it is, don't race it matter if, like, pick on the National Open, for example. The purse is bigger than $75,000, so, I don't know what the actual purse is, but just say it's, $500,000, it's a $500,000 purse. If you got somebody who's looking at that for the first time, doesn't really know much about sprint car racing, but they've heard about it and they want to come see it, and they see that big number, they're like, wow, that's a big event. Like, I'm gonna go.
It's happening in my neck of the woods. It's happening in central
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. That's a
oh my
big. Like, they're
god.
paying $500,000 purse out to these drivers, and yeah, you might not necessarily know what it is to win, but at the time, but I just think it's a better marketing standpoint than what it is to win. And not only that, but not just one person's going to prosper. More teams are going to prosper, and it's just going to grow the sport and just make it better for everyone, make it more worthwhile for everybody to come to your event and want to be a part of it. It's just it's just going to attract more. I mean, that's look at the Knoxville Nationals. Like, they pay so good throughout the entire field. Don't matter if you're in the A main or what. Like, the A main pays out, the B main pays out, the C main, the D main. Like, every time you hit the track, you get paid. Like, and especially on the final night, I mean, you're getting paid really good money to be there. And And if you look at it, they advertise the purse more than they do what it is to win. And that's really important. And I really like to see that happen more often in sprint car racing. I really would, because we'll just pick on the 100,000 to win race that you just brought up there. Which track would I pick? Okay, well, yeah, it's 100,000 to win, but well, you know, second might be 25,000. That's a huge difference. I'm sorry, but there shouldn't be that big of a gap. And that's just from first to second. And then now think about what the gap is from first to fifth or from first to 10th. You're having a 100,000 win race and 10th pays $2,500. Well, that's only $500 more than what a regular World of Outlaw or high limit race would pay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's not really, in my opinion, the best answer. So I really wish that they would take that money and spread it throughout the field more. But I'm not running the events. I'm not setting the purses, but it's my opinion.
One last fan question before we let you get out of here. This is from Ed Buchanan, and we know I'm going to preface it with the caveat of we know how you feel about the tires, but if you could control one universal change on the car, what would you change, if anything?
I would change the wings just to try to eliminate some of all this bad air and being able to move around. I'll admit I don't have any experience in dish wings at all. When I got into sprint car racing was I think the first year that they mandated the flat wing. So I don't have any experience, but I've talked to guys that do have experience in both. And the perfect example was I was talking to a 358 driver who was really successful at Williams Grove and ran a dished wing, and then they mandated to have the same wings we run, the flat wings. And he said he never experienced the dirty air until they went to the flat wing. And I was like, well, that's something we experience all the time. And then I also follow, like I said earlier, I've been following along with Australia a lot. And then they have the mixture of flat and dish. And I feel like their racing's really good. So I think that's something like I would like to see a change. I mean, hell, I'd even love to have some exhibition races to see, just to see if it's better. I think it's worth it. And me personally, I would just love to experience it and see if it is better, because I have these thoughts and these theories in my head, but I don't really know because I never run one. But I just know from the data that I gathered that it does seem to be a better route to go. But that's one universal change. I'm picking that.
That first night of Volusia that doesn't count for points sounds like a great night for that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could have even be uh, it was great to see like another winter series event happen. Week long racing. What they used to do down at Yuma. Uh, if we had something like that, and then take that week, I don't know, 4 or 5 races that week, and then it's using as an exhibition week. Open the rules up to the tires, the wings.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to stay within a rule, obviously, but you can't just come out with these crazy looking things. But just kind of open that up a little bit and see what the racing's like. It's just 1 week. I know I would spend the money to try it, and see what I like. So if I'm willing to spend it, and I know a lot of other guys would.
Testing is testing, but when you're actually in competition, that you learn
Yeah, have
you
some
learn
actual
way
competition.
more, yeah, against the field than anybody else. So,
Yeah, yeah.
man, it's so great to have you. I appreciate the time so much, and
Thanks, guys.
hopefully we get to see you around here a little bit this year, and I guess at Port Royal. And you're due
Yeah.
for a big Port Royal win. You've had some speed, you've passed a lot of race cars, but you have some shit luck some nights. So it's time to break that this year,
Yeah, yeah.
and we'll take a 19 sweep at Port Royal this year. I'm okay with
That's
that. You can leave
sounds
that money
great, man.
close to home.
Yeah, I love the way you think.
A lot of races there too. All
Yeah,
eight of
there
them.
is. Yeah, I'm
All eight
looking
of them.
forward to it. Looking forward to it. So
Thanks,
thank
man.
you
Hey,
guys for having
appreciate
me
the
on.
time, dude. Have
Yep,
safe travels, my friend. We'll see you soon.
yep. Talk to you
Thank
later.
Thanks,
Bye.
Brent. Later.
Brent Marks, ladies and gentlemen. Thank him so much for joining us. Always fun catching up with Brent. Um, that's it's either the second or third time we had him on, and always just love getting his perspective on things. And he has a unique, nice, balanced perspective on things, and isn't afraid to tell his opinion, as you could see. So, thank him very much for joining us, and just good luck to him this season.
Yeah, no doubt. It's crazy. I was a fan of Brent's before I knew Brent. Never spoke to him before. Never, knew his personality, and he's sort of an anti-driver in a way. He's like calm, collected, professional, but has opinions, thinks about the opinions, and then gets behind the wheel and drives. Can drive like a madman. It's kind of an interesting personality mix, I think, because he's, like I said, it's pretty calm, cool, and collected in these conversations and can speak intelligently about these things. As young driver came up through and now owning his own team and going out and doing his own deal. It's he's an interesting uh person to talk to. I think the closest thing that in interviews I've heard is like Greg Hodnett. Listen to a lot of Greg Hodnett interviews over the years, and all driver, but can speak on these things intelligently. And I think people listen to guys like that aren't just emotional about it. That
Yeah.
hey, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I, can talk about because I've lived it, and they're successful at it. So it's always fun to talk to Brent. I think he has, like I said, I think the opinions he has aren't just to tear it down. I think to make it better for everyone, not just what he likes. I think it's just for what he believes makes racing better, um, on track and off track. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. High Limit starts March 12th, 13th, and 14th down in Vegas. Sounds like he'll be going to Volusia there the weekend before as well. So keep an eye out for Brent out on the High Limit Tour, trying to improve on that. Finished fifth last year. He finished fourth in the championship points, fifth in the driver points, or in the owner points. So trying to improve on that. Compete for a title this year. Looking forward to it. That's really all we had planned. Not a lot going on. No racing this upcoming weekend, I don't think. We have the icebreaker next weekend, so hopefully this time next Monday, we're talking about nice, warm, 65, 70 degree temperatures and going to Lincoln next weekend. But we'll see what happens. Keep an eye out on that weather. It has been nice. Hopefully it's here to stay, and we can go racing here locally next weekend. And if not, we do have we have Volusia and everything coming up the weekend after, and then the seasons really start to get going because after Volusia, Outlaws get going, and then the weekend after that, High Limit gets going. So and we get going around here. So we're not far off, ladies and gentlemen. A couple more weeks. But don't say that, Brandon. I know, I see that weather shifting back to the low 30s. Oh, Amp A, Trenton indoor dirt 600 race, but no one cares about micros. Motorama sounds better. Motorama's this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh wow. My
It
bad.
is because
So you got Trenton
originally
indoor
the
race and
icebreaker.
Motorama.
Well,
Yeah, that's right.
originally the icebreaker was going to be this weekend. They were on the same weekend, and Lincoln moved it a week back to not clash with
That's
the
right. That's
Motorama.
right. Yeah.
So honestly, think about that. The icebreaker was supposed to be this coming weekend. It was never going to happen. We had zero chance.
Yeah, that's true. It wasn't gonna happen.
Maybe we get lucky and get to see a race.
I forgot about Motorama. Maybe I'll try to get there. I still never went to Motorama. All I know is that if Icebreaker doesn't happen, or even if it does happen, I'm going to the RV show. RV show's next weekend in Harrisburg. There, if you want to go look at an RV, that's where I go. What's Hank Davis's big news? Asked Todd.
I assume High Limit.
We're thinking High Limit. We're kind of hearing.
We've heard from two separate sides of this. High Limit made an announcement, I think, and we've had somebody who was like, "Hey, there's an announcement coming. We believe it's a High Limit rookie tour."
Yeah. So, which would be awesome. Obviously, boosted his name a lot with this Chili Bowl run this year, and he's looked good in that 17 GP. The limited starts that he has. So, him on High Limit, that would be a great ad for sure for that series, and it would be interesting to see what he does. So we'll have to see what happens if the official announcement comes out. I would imagine probably tomorrow, maybe the day after, but they are teasing one. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, so Motorama this weekend, Trenton this weekend, Icebreaker hopefully next weekend. And next week we will have a show planned for you. We'll probably have a guest on. We don't know who yet. We have a couple names we're going to be trying to get on. Any news on Skylar G? I have heard from through the grapevine. He did find a ride.
A 360
360
in
deal somewhere.
the Southwest or the Midwest. Like nothing.
Maybe they're doing.
nothing.
Is Central Arizona this weekend for 360s? Is that this
That
weekend?
might be right. That something like that. So I don't know. Nothing on the tour. No 410.
Yeah,
Skylar will be behind the wheel, but it
that's
you
what
know,
we heard. Yeah,
keep an eye out.
yeah. Keep an eye out for him for what his long-term plans are. All right, that's it for real.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Out of here.
Thanks
I had 3
again.
beers. I gotta piss. It's time to go.
Thanks again to Brent Marks again for joining us. Thank you all for joining us. Some new people we saw in the chat. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you can, please give a like and a subscribe to wherever you're watching. That truly helps us get out there. We're going to be interviewing drivers all season long and doing some analysis. So if you like what you saw tonight, please give a like and subscribe, and we will see you guys